So it's a Saturday, and I have the second room here. I'm just gonna be cleaning it up. I have some garbage, not garbage, but just stuff all over the place. I need to vacuum in here. And yeah, I thought I would do this. Sorry, I was turned around. Let's get to it. So there's a lot of stuff in here, and I'm gonna be moving stuff in and out to clear this out. I need to dismantle that plant stand. There used to be a lot of plants in here, but then I just moved them out into the other room, to the bigger living room. So I will do that, and I'll try to get all this on video, because why not? This used to be, what you're seeing here, this monitor used to be how I would monitor the video for my other camera. I got a new camera just for recording video, but the old one, the screen didn't flip out all the way forward, and so I didn't have a good way of monitoring the video. So I got this this computer monitor, and I put it on a stand just to see how that would go. It worked pretty well. It's just too many things to set up. You know, we had to the power, and then the monitor, and then the stand itself, and then yeah. So this is way easier, this new camera that I have. And then these fans were there because the old camera had a like it would overheat when you would record in 4K. So this new camera doesn't do that. And yeah, I'm grateful for that. So let me move these things out. These rubber bands are what I used to, oh God. These rubber bands are what I used to use to attach these fans. These are USB fans. I would use these and then attach them to the camera to cool it. But I need to find a way, I need to find a place for all these different things. And I'm thinking I will probably, there's a cabinet or closet right behind you. What I'm thinking is a lot of these things I'll try to pack up neatly and put in there, the ones I don't use very often. Yeah. All right, so this monitor will have to go into the closet eventually. So we'll just put it here for now. And I'm gonna keep that with it. Okay. Don't need this humidifier in here anymore because there are no more plants. So that's that. And this is a tripod for a light. I don't really use it. Maybe I'll keep it open and put it away. Let's see if I can make it smaller. Smaller footprint. I'll put this right here. A little trinket thing. I guess this is a sun deflector thing. I don't know why I bought it, but I have it, so I'm gonna put it back. I don't know. I know why I bought it. I liked it. I'm gonna put it back up there. So this plant stand, it comes off. Let me go get the let me go get the little bag for it, because it comes in pieces. It comes in pieces, so I just need to find the bag, and there were more pieces to it, so I'm just gonna go do that. I'll be right back. So here's the bag. I don't think I can fit all the pieces in here, so I brought this white garbage bag, and I think I'm gonna just put the stuff in there. But yeah. So let me just move this back out of the way. We don't think we need this in the shot. Okay. So I guess we'll just start here in the center. But yeah, I've been meaning to do this. I've been meaning to do this for a while. I had opportunities to do it too. I just didn't have the energy to do it while I was sick. I'll be turned around most of the time here. Hopefully that's okay. Hopefully it's still interesting to watch. Oh. But yeah. So, I don't know if you can see, but it's been quite dreary lately. It's that part of the springtime when it is very rainy outside. It's nice because it's getting warmer, but it is rainy and sometimes windy, so that's not great. We're almost to May. Hopefully it's going to get a lot more sunnier and a lot more pleasant to be outside in. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah. Uh-oh, did I just give myself a splinter? Okay. Gotta be careful. Actually, this thing, it has gloves in it for that reason. It came with gloves. Yeah, these gloves. It came with these gloves so you can... Ooh, yeah. So you can put this stuff on or handle the wood, because it is made of wood. You can handle the wood without it actually hurting or without getting splinters. Okay, let's just start putting stuff inside. These small connectors, I think I might put in here, because I think there's space for it in here. The big ones, however, I don't think there is space for it in here, so I'll just do that. Sorry if I clear my throat often, because I still have some mucus, I guess, in my throat, so it gets to me sometimes. So I might be clearing it every once in a while. Hopefully it's not too annoying. So what's interesting about this room is it has yellow paint, and I don't know if you can see on the camera. Maybe you can. Let's see. You can kind of see that it's yellow. Yeah. I mean, okay, you can see that it's yellow, but hopefully it shows up how yellow it actually is. The thing is, I really like the room. I think it could be a nice little office or a nice area to spend time in. The only issue is, in the evenings, it gets quite yellow in here. Or not just yellow, it gets quite dark. And yellow too, because of the evening light. Now, I don't know what I can do to make it kind of brighten the room up. The carpet is also cream colored like it is in the other room. So it's a little too yellow for my preferences. So what I think I might do is add more white to it, like white furniture, more bright things to sort of bring up the color. Not bring up the color, but sort of make it brighter. And then also add more color to it, because I don't want this to be white and yellow and different shades in between. I'm probably gonna add some blues and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. I don't really use this room too much. It's been kind of being used as a storeroom. I put my monitor here, you can't see it now, but there's a monitor here, there's some lights there. So I'm gonna need to find the space for everything and sort of make it a presentable room, because I don't really like it that I'm in a place where I have 2 bedrooms, but 1 bedroom's completely underutilized. At least I'm gonna make it so I can come in here and sit down a little bit, so that should be good. I'm looking forward to doing that. I've wanted to do an indoor vegetable situation going on with like maybe growing potatoes or tomatoes indoors, maybe like investing in that, trying to see how much food I can grow inside an apartment like this. I also have a balcony, but probably I'm going to try it indoors completely to see what's possible. I think that could be interesting. And I like the taste of food that is grown from seeds for whatever reason, or maybe it's organic food, I'm not sure what it is, but it just tastes a lot more rich. So that's another kind of thing that I was interested in doing. Just haven't had the time or the budget to embark on that hobby yet. And I know that since I am trying this sort of filming and talking thing, that would help. Those 2 things would kind of go well together. I can talk about doing that as I'm doing it, and maybe I can get some help from people who watch. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so this is a big piece, and this big piece doesn't want to go in very nicely, but that's okay. And then the other thing is, I have art around, I shouldn't say around the house, I've got art, 3 pieces of art, which are actually puzzles that I completed, and then I put Mod Podge on them to sort of set them in place. And I wanted to hang them up. I actually hung up 2 of them. 2 of the 3. But the issue with that was the puzzles themselves, they started to kind of warp. I think the plastic or the Mod Podge, the glue that kind of set the puzzle in place, it kind of expands and contracts under heat in like hot and cold environments. So the whole puzzle, when it's up against the wall, it ends up being a little bit off the wall in one way or another. It bows out or it curves in. So I was thinking I need to figure out how to put that on the wall, because I really do like the idea of putting puzzles on a wall as art. I think it's a cool way of doing it. So I have some down here. Let me just show you. So this is one. I don't know if you can see if you can see it really well, but this is one of them. It's a puzzle, as you can see. I don't know if you can tell, but that is a puzzle. And I've done it, and I put Mod Podge over the front. I didn't put any on the back because I didn't think I needed to, but it's on the front. And it's done pretty well. I don't see any issues with it. There's some like areas where it's kind of stuck to the other puzzle, and so you can see it's been kind of white. I shouldn't have done that. It does kind of ruin the finish, but overall it still looks fine. So what I'm thinking is, for things like this, what I might do is I might get a plastic, some kind of backer. I'm thinking maybe a plywood backer. Cut the plywood to the size and sort of paste or attach or somehow fix this puzzle to that plywood on the back, or MDF board or something on the back. And that way I'll be able to mount it without it kind of warping or bending. Right now it doesn't look too warped, which is kind of funny. But when I put it up I had this in the bathroom. When I put this up in the bathroom, it was bending. So that's something also I need to figure out eventually. And then I have another one, big one down there. I'll show that to you a little later. But I still need to, before I can do that, I need to take apart this shelf. It's kind of interesting though to think about what kinds of things you get into as an adult when you have a job and you're a little bit more stable and you have a weekly schedule. It's really interesting. Well, to me it was interesting anyway. And it was interesting because, you know, there's a million different ways you can spend your time, a million different things you can do. And I feel like there's a point in your life where things kind of slow down, and that's when you really know who you are, start to understand who you are as a person, or at least that's when I started to understand who I was as a person. Prior to this time, when, you know, after university, I went to university, so after university, finding a job, you know, that entire period of my life before the stage that I'm in, it was always go, 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 go. There's always something else to think about. There's always something else to focus on. And there's always a goal. There's always a target out in the distance that, you know, kept all of us going. And I think that target sort of disappears after a certain age, and you have to decide for yourself what that target is. Before, you had society telling you, or people or other influences like family or whoever, friends, telling you that you should be this way or you should do this. Everyone gets a university degree, everyone does this, everyone, you know, so on and so forth, depending on the group of people you grow up around in. But, you know, once you've done that, you kind of have to decide for yourself what's important for yourself, you know? And to me, that's been kind of it's been a very interesting process. I gotta be very honest, maybe this is too much for a conversation like this, for this kind of format, but I realized that whole period of your life where you're trying to do the best you can do, and the best you can do is defined by what other people think is best, is a very important part of life. Now, I know that's not exactly a popular opinion, like it's not exactly a good thing to live your life by other people's standards, but I think it does, in a way, inform and better inform who you are than if you were not to go through that experience. I think in a way, I appreciate this time more. Now that I have time to myself and I have a job and I do these things, I feel much happier. And I don't mean that in the sense that, oh, okay, you know, I can do things that I want to do. It's more so that I have realized that, oh, okay, this person that I am now, like the things that I do on a daily basis, the things that I care about, they connect me back to like some kind of deeper truth that I always sort of knew about myself, but I never really paid attention to. And I think that really speaks to the power or the importance of living in the moment. You know, you can live for other people, you can live for your anxieties, your troubles, your fears. You can live for the people you love and all those different things. But you know, if you really pay attention, you live in the moment, you think about your motivations. Oops, what am I doing? I'm not putting this in the proper place. Think about your motivations. Think about, you know, what drives you, what pushes you, what makes you happy. You know, if you really think about those things, you realize that there is a very specific charge to you as a person. And, you know, there's events in life that can change you. But largely speaking, I think those things, they do stay constant throughout your life. You know, that the thinking that, hey, you know, you can take anybody and make them into anything and it just depends on environment. I think environment has a big effect, don't get me wrong, but I think there's certain qualities that can't be changed by the environment. And I'm really starting to learn that. And that's through my own personal experience. So that's been pretty cool. And it's also, there's a strange sort of comfort that comes from, you know, knowing that, oh, hey, you know, this is who I am and who I've always been. But now I'm finally getting to like really live with it. I know it sounds corny and cheesy, but it's what it is. You get to experience that again. You get to live it. And if you get drawn in a certain place, you get pushed in a certain direction. So that's cool. But anyways, I'm gonna get a bag for that. That bag is too small. So it looks like this. It's too small. I'm gonna get a bigger bag and put everything inside. Be right back. All right. Right, I forgot to bring the bag. Okay. So here's a bigger black garbage bag. I feel like I wasted the white one, but it's okay. I'm just gonna put everything in this one. Hopefully it's okay. Okay, this is not a good way of storing this. I feel like a better way would have been to put all the flat pieces in one bag and then the little rods in another bag, but it's okay, it'll do for now. Okay, great. And then this one I can close off. Oh, I forgot the gloves. But yeah, what I was saying about getting some space and time, slow down, is kind of a scary situation. It's kind of a difficult thing for a lot of people. You know, you start to think about things as, for me anyway, I don't think everyone does this, but maybe people do, I don't know. But I'll be right back, 1 second. Yeah, slowing down is kind of scary because you have to sort of face the music. There is a music that plays, and it's always playing. And you have to learn what it is and what it's about. And it's very specific to you. And there are some very hard things that you have to confront, that you may have to confront. I'm not saying everybody's going to have those difficult things that they have to confront. But I think it's true. I think most people will have something very, very difficult to confront in their lives. And maybe it's something related to, you know, their habits or their personality or whatever it is. I think it's good to be in motion all the time. I think it's good. It keeps you happy. It keeps you, you know, it keeps you sane to some degree. It keeps you motivated, it keeps you moving, it keeps you excited about life. I think that's great. I think all those things are great, but I think there's also a place for not stagnation, but for things to slow down. So you can sort of see things for what they are, think about where you want to go. And those periods, they really do define, those periods are very important. You know, as much as we love to talk about all the times when you were moving and shaking, if things have slowed down, you want to be able to talk about, and not just talk about, but really think about where you want your life to go and the directions you want to take it. But yeah, I think those periods of time are very important. I think in those periods of time, if you're a perceptive person, or if you've worked on being a perceptive person, you can figure out and find out what your demons are and how they're affecting your life. And I think, you know, all the cliche things about you being your own enemy, your biggest enemy, all those things are true. As cliche as they sound, like, no one else cares about you in the way that you probably think that they care about you. And your greatest enemies is you, are the negative aspects of yourself. They are your greatest enemies. And you know, we like to put other people and sort of, you know, use them as an excuse for why we are not doing well or why we can't do something. And of course, some relationships are lifelong and you can't get rid of them, can't move past them. But I think it is largely a scapegoat. I think personal responsibility is one of the greatest things. Personal responsibility is one of the greatest things someone can grasp in a healthy way to you know, really do well for their mental health and well for the people around them. Yeah, and you know, we think of it like this, right? Let's say you have a certain problem, you're hanging around certain people, but let's say your personality changes and you don't no longer want to partake in whatever behavior that was causing you issues, right? I don't know, maybe it was you were friends with people who were I don't know, backstabbers or whatever, or people who lied a lot or judged a lot or whatever, right? These are silly examples, but you get the point. Like, if you hang around people like that, you are feeding a certain demon. It's a demon that you all have in common. And by discussing it with one another, you keep on giving power to this demon. And it really is, it has a life. It's a life form, because whether or not you are talking about it, it exists. And you can come back to it and you can talk about it. So this, you know, proverbial, or real, in my opinion, demon of backbiting, you can feed it by surrounding yourself with people who backbite, you know, or you can do the work that's required for you to curb that habit, to kick that habit. And once you do that, you are no longer going to find those conversations enticing anymore. You're not going to want to, I don't know, let's say backbite. This is kind of a silly example because I think most adults know not to do something like that, but I'm just using it as an example. So it's really, really strange, you know, the language that we use about these things, to talk about these things. Like, I have my demons, you have your demons, fighting my demons, all this language we use. It is very, very interesting, right? Like, I was thinking about this the other day, right? What are beings, right? Beings exist independent of... beings kind of exist independent of whether or not you are thinking about them, right? So let's say I have a pet cat, right, or a pet dog, and I stop thinking about them. They're gonna exist whether or not I'm thinking about them, right? And there needs to be a physical thing there for it to exist, in the case of a physical thing like a cat or a dog, right? But, let me put this back, I'll be right back. But, so, the cat and dog exists whether or not you're thinking about it, or talking about it, or even know of it, right? So in a similar way, a demon exists as long as people are discussing that thing. So whether it's lying, for example, people talk about it, it's going to exist. And the more you hear people around you talk about it, partake in it, the more strength you give to it. And then it exists whether or not you personally are talking about it, because other people have it in their mind. They're doing it or what have you, right? And I think that's very interesting. I think that gives us a peek into the nature of how things come into existence. This is going to sound weird, but it is very much like speaking things, because of the way human minds work. Speaking things is how you can bring things into existence. It's very, very interesting. Now, the other thing is, you can take it in another way. Demons are negative, sure, but new ideas are similar, right? So if I start talking about something, so oftentimes what I've noticed is events in your life, personally, or even in the greater world out there, outside of your personal life, they are kind of, what I've kind of seen is that they don't have they may not necessarily have a good or bad associated with them. You'll come into situations where you can see things from both perspectives. And oftentimes, if you get into an argument with somebody, or you have some sort of confrontation or what have you, or disagreement, you'll realize that there are compelling cases for both people, and coming from both points of view. And you can take somebody who is very, very, I don't know, let's say somebody is insecure. They may think it's okay to do something which would widely be considered negative, right? And it stems from their insecurity, right? But if you think about it, you can look at it as, okay, that person, within their circumstances, within their realm of information, that insecure person's realm of information, what they did is justified, and that is what caused them to do what they did, right? But on the other hand, and actually people do understand this, because they make allowance for this within their lives, and I think it's a good thing. I don't think I think you should make space for people who are, I think it's a thing of love that people do, really, is give space for people who are damaged, who are hurting, so that they can come to realizations and heal. I think that's a beautiful thing. But what I'm trying to say is, that person, that behavior does not make it right. Like, just because you're putting up with something doesn't make that behavior correct. So, the larger point here being that you can, the larger point being that if everyone starts to talk about something that was considered negative as it being a positive, that thing does switch, that thing flips, and it becomes a positive thing where it once was a negative thing. I know it's a big weird thing to talk about, but it speaks to the nature of creation, and it speaks to how realities are formed. And I think when you have groups of people around you that reinforce a certain reality, and more people do it, that becomes a reality for the greater whole. And that becomes a truth. So yeah, I think that's very, very fascinating. I think that is kind of what it basically means to me. And this is something that I've been thinking about. And what it means to me, what it seems to me, is that the world can be as wonderful, as fantastical as you make it, or it could be as restrictive and imprisoning as you make it. And I think one of the biggest things you can do for yourself is spend time living in the moment, finding enjoyment in the little things. And that's what I've been doing lately with all this, and in doing so, you learn a lot about yourself. It gives you a sense of peace, and it also gives you a sense into what reality is. And these days, with how society and how your everyday life is with social media and, you know, continuous scrolling, it doesn't let you, it doesn't really, it's not very conducive to having those moments of self-reflection. And when you don't have those moments of self-reflection, you really can't go through this work that everyone, I believe, they need to do in order to arrive at a better understanding of themselves. And what people instead would opt to do is that they just try to distract themselves. And these days, there's no shortage of distractions, and no shortage of cheap endorphin hits. There's kind of a blind spot, you know? And you know, these big problems, you don't have to solve the massive problems. Again, this isn't breakthrough knowledge or anything. I don't think it's knowledge, but it's something I've really been seeing intuitively and understanding intuitively. You don't have to start there. If you want to solve the world's problems, you have to start with yourself. But it's true. So I just spent, I don't know, 20 minutes on a soliloquy. So when I start working again, I'm going to start putting the stuff back. I don't know if that made any sense, but thank you for listening. Yeah, so this is the other one. This is the other thing. I don't know if I'm going to put this one up, but I think it's kind of cool. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if you saw what it was, but if you did, you know what it is. If you know, you know. And I had these wall shelves that I'd put up in my bedroom, but they're too heavy and don't really like how much they stick out. So I'm going to be using them to organize other things. Put this here for now. I don't think we need to remove everything. And I'll probably go around these things with the vacuum. So I don't know how much I need to remove everything, but I'm very excited to be doing this because you know, since I moved in, I haven't really set this room up at all. Like there was a time when I cleaned it up a little bit, but never really properly set it up. And I think this time around, I'm finally gonna be able to do that. So it's kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting. That's the vacuuming done. Just need to vacuum the side where the camera's at. I'll do that after, but I can move in stuff or start reorganizing it. So, all right, so here's a bench. You probably saw it, but this is the bench that I'm going to be sitting on. So there's that. Oh God. Here's a table. I don't think you guys saw it, but it's a pretty normal table. Let me see if I can lift it up. The table. Okay. All right, so that is that. I kind of blocked off the, it's kind of awkward, isn't it? Okay, let's take this back to this side. We'll plug this in. So this is a lamp that was outside. I think I'm gonna be putting it on this desk. I think it'll look nicer in here. So yeah, I'm gonna have this probably on this side. This one the sun catcher, I think it goes back. Now I need to move these lights somewhere, and I think maybe I'll have them, actually, you know what, let's move this light here. Yeah, so 2 lights, put 1 here. All right, I don't think I can show you the closet right now. I think it's a little bit, there's not enough in there to show. Yeah, I'm gonna be stacking these cube shelves on the ground because I don't want to put them up on the wall. And I think they work fine stacked. So I'm gonna stack 2 of them or 3 of them, and I'll start organizing some of these things in there, and that way it'll look a lot neater and I can put more stuff in the closet. So these are the little white frames that I came with the frames. I need to probably need to throw them out at this point. So here we have painting equipment. You can see some paintings I made. Here's a bird, forest, fall, some canvas boards, canvas panels. We have an unfinished one on top of here. But yeah, this is another hobby that I got into. I got all these brushes. I haven't done this in a while, but I think I'll get back into it because I did enjoy myself doing this. It was quite fun actually to paint stuff, and I have got both into acrylic paints and then also into oil paints. But yeah, I have equipment, so I should probably just use it. I don't know why I never really kept up with it, and I think that's one of the problems that I have when I start these things, and I'm kind of worried about it with this. I just think about a lot of different things, and I thought, why not just put it out there? What's the worst thing that can happen? There's nothing wrong. Nothing bad can come from just putting your unfiltered thoughts on the internet, right? Right? I'm trying to fit this back in. I don't know why I stood everything up, but here we go. And this is another painting that I didn't finish, but I'm sorry, this is gonna have to go in the trash. It's gonna go in the trash. So that's that, all cleaned up, everything, that's all in the trash. We're gonna keep these 2. I'll put these out on top so I can put them up somewhere, hopefully, eventually. Oh, we have a mattress, not mattress, what am I saying? A carpet in there. All right, so I have a star projector, which I think might be cool. So I'm gonna put this here because I wasn't really using it out in the living room, even though I sit there sometimes. Maybe this can be used here. All right, so I'm just gonna bring everything back in here that needs to stay in here. Everything that needs a home. I don't think the carpet needs to be in this room. And we're gonna need some plants, so I got 2 of them. I don't wanna put too many because I think that would make it too crowded, but I think 2 plants we can keep. The garbage I will move out. This white light here, I think that might be fine. Just by the entrance here. Ow. All right, this one we'll put over here. All right, so we can work there, perhaps talk there. I think what I'm gonna do in the future is I'm gonna add some art on this wall and on this wall. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's done. So yeah, I'll I'll need to flesh it out a little bit more, maybe add some more art. Okay, let me get that. Thanks for watching.